I'm with Lucas Borchenko. He is the national chair of the Young Liberals of Canada, at least for a couple of more days because elections are taking place at this convention. Lucas, good to see you. I want to start with your sense of what the state of the Liberal Party is across Canada right now. A lot's being talked about how provincial parties have not been faring as well across the country. What have you been seeing in the 2 years that you've been chair?
Well, in the 2 years that I've been chair, we've seen a lot of young Liberals join the party, a lot of new people get involved. So it's actually been, from a young Liberal perspective, it's kind of tough to organize on campuses during a pandemic when everything's online. But we're luckily and we're very fortunate that we have almost the same level of campus activity from before the pandemic as we do now. There's two great teams of people running to replace me and to have new executives, and competition is always good in party races. It brings people out, it gets people excited, and they're working hard to deliver what their next vision for the YLC. But over the last 2 years, things haven't exactly always been easy, but we've seen that the message is resilient, and that people are still inspired by the ideas, the platform, and the people we're putting forward.
Well, I do want to ask you about the youth side of the party, because we've seen people coming to this convention, the May Day movement, talking that there needs to be more renewal, more engagement with youth in the party, better focus on campus clubs. They feel that there's a bit of a disconnect. You've been working on these things for 2 years. What do you say to all that?
Well, so the first thing I'll say is that we do have almost the same level of campus club support as we had just before the pandemic. We're also looking at an awesome September where we have 10 new clubs coming online potentially, which is going to greatly increase our membership, and that will be something that the next team that's in my role will be working on over the summer, and it will be our second in-person recruitment since the pandemic began, because we had 2 online ones where people weren't able to sign up members in the same way and get people involved. People had to join Zoom calls. I was running a campus club during the starting of the pandemic where we had a 2-hour time slot, and if you showed up and joined the Zoom call, you joined the Zoom call, and we said, hey, do you want to be a Young Liberal? And they said yes, or they were like, oh, I joined the wrong Zoom call, things like that. And some of those people are here today getting involved and at their first in-person convention. So, and I think we have over 600 or 700 delegates here from across the country, from every coast, from every province and territory. Got to catch up with our very newly appointed Northwest Territories chair, which we haven't had for quite a while. So we're working really hard to make sure that there are young Liberals across the country, and it hasn't been tough, or no, it hasn't been easy, but it's we've been able to come out of the pandemic with good numbers and with strong support.
Okay, I want to talk to you about leadership now, because we are just over 10 years into Justin Trudeau's tenure as leader. He's been Prime Minister for 8. He's gone through 3 election campaigns and says he wants to do a 4th. But I did note that during your Young Liberals AGM meeting, Pierre Poilievre's name did get mentioned, and the fact that among younger Canadians, his message might be resonating on issues like home ownership. So when you look to that next election campaign, where you're going to be facing Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party of Canada, do you and other young Liberals still think Justin Trudeau is the right leader to be taking on that challenge, to be taking on a 4th campaign?
Yes, absolutely. And I think Young Liberals will be right there behind the Prime Minister to help him get elected to another term. There'll always be opponents, there'll always be challenges, there'll always be new ideas that need to be brought forward. Young Liberals are always at the front of bringing forward new ideas, and I know there's a lot here that are passionate about housing and what the Liberal government can do for housing. It's an issue that I've heard brought up to the Prime Minister from Young Liberals a lot, so I'm confident that our next campaign and our next platform will include some really good stuff there and get people excited about it.
Well, I want to finish with you on the policy question that, of course, is a part of this convention as resolutions get debated. But after 8 years in government, what do you think are the big policy ideas that the Liberal Party can put forward?
Well, I'll talk from the Young Liberal perspective. We have a couple of flagship policies. One is a high-speed rail from Quebec City to Windsor, which we're really excited about. Another one is freedom of movement between Canada, the UK, New Zealand, and Australia. And also we have some people that have put forward some measures on national sick days and giving people 4 weeks of paid vacation time a year. So those are some of the ideas that Young Liberals are really passionate about this convention and are pushing forward. And we hope that the rest of the party will side with us. But that's always part of it, is that Young Liberals are always pushing the dial forward. And we'll continue to do that. And I know the next generation will continue to do that. But we have some really exciting stuff that we're talking about this weekend.
All right, and we'll see how those debates unfold between now and Saturday afternoon. Lucas Borchenko, thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much.